due to the unequal heating of Earth's surface due to the variation in temperature. There will be unequal heating of Earth's surface. So what happens when there is an unequal heating of Earth's surface? The moist air which is very close to the earth, just about 1.5 meter above the water surface or the ground surface. So due to the unequal heating of earth surface, the moist air which is very near to the ground surface or the water surface, so it rises to the sky due to its low density. So this water vapor will rise to the sky due to its low density, and which results in the formation of heavy dense clouds in the shape of cauliflower. So you can see cauliflower shaped clouds only in the month of April, May, whenever there is a rise in the temperature. If the temperature goes beyond 40 degree or 42 degree, then in the evening part of the day, you can see dense clouds in the atmosphere. So that is due to convectional precipitation, or it is also known as thermal convection. So here the word thermal is nothing but that is the difference in the temperature, due to the unequal heating of Earth's surface. So what happens? The moist air which is very close to the Earth's surface, it rises up due to its low density, and at higher altitude, these will result in the formation of heavy dense clouds. The density of clouds increases, and these clouds sometimes collide each other or sometimes melt, which results in the precipitation, which is known as convective precipitation, or it is also known as thermal convection. So whatever the precipitation that takes place due to the collision of the dense clouds, so which results in the precipitation. And sometimes these these precipitations are accompanied by heavy blowing wind, so which are also called as tornadoes. Now you can see this figure. The first type of precipitation is convectional precipitation. Now what happens due to the unequal heating of Earth's surface, whatever the moist air which is very close to the Earth's surface, it's get heated up, and due to its low density, it rises to the sky, and at higher altitude, the condensation of nuclei take place. That means there will be increase in the rain droplet growth, then which results in the formation of heavy thick clouds which is in the shape of cauliflower. And when these clouds become heavier or denser, so they try to collide each other, or sometimes these clouds will melt due to the temperature, and which results in the precipitation, over a small area, or which may be. So this type of precipitation takes place over a small area. It doesn't occur over a large area. Wherever there is high temperature, wherever there is rise in high temperature, those places receives this convectional type of precipitation, or it is also called as thermal convection. So when this precipitation is accompanied by heavy blowing wind, so which is called as tornadoes, which is known as the tornado. So this is the first type of precipitation, that is convectional precipitation. Now the second type of precipitation is called as orographic precipitation. So this type of precipitation you can generally see in the coastal areas of Karnataka. So here, in case of orographic precipitation, the moist air, the mechanical lifting of the moist air will take place, and this moist air which is obstructed by the mountain ranges, What happens? The moist air which is very close to the earth's surface, it will be lifted mechanically, and this moist air is obstructed by the mountain ranges, which causes intense precipitation on the leeward side, that is on the landward side, and there will be less precipitation on the windward side. So this is the second type of precipitation, where there will be a mechanical lifting of the air mass, which is intercepted or obstructed by the mountain ranges, which results in the precipitation on the leeward side, that is on the seaward side, and there will be less precipitation on the windward side. So this type of precipitation is called as orographic precipitation. You can see here, mountain ranges barriers cause lifting of the air masses. The moist air is forced over mountain barriers by westerly airflow, and precipitation falls on the wind side, and the mountain ranges, while the leeward side, that is the eastern side, is warmer and drier. That means here you can see here you have a mountain range, you have a mountain barrier here, you have the moist air. So there will be a mechanical lifting of the moist air and it will be intercepted or obstructed by these mountain ranges. Now you can see here, this is obstructed by the mountain ranges, which causes intense precipitation on the correct windward side. So this is the windward side, and there will be less precipitation on the leeward side or the landward side. So here between the ocean and the land, you have a mountain barrier. So whenever there will be a mechanical lifting of the moist air, and it will be obstructed by the mountain ranges, which causes heavy precipitation on the windward side, and there will be normal to less precipitation on the leeward side. So the best example is Agumbe in our Karnataka Western Ghats. So Agumbe receives this type of precipitation, that is orographic precipitation. So the air that is lifted from the Arabian Sea, it is obstructed by the mountain ranges in the Western Ghats. So there will be intense precipitation on the windward side. So this is the second type of precipitation, that is known as orographic precipitation. So the first type of precipitation is convection precipitation, or it is also known as thermal convection. So this is because of unequal heating of the Earth's surface. The moist air which is very close to the Earth's surface gets heated up, and this rises because of its low density, and at higher altitude, so the clouds condense, which results in the formation of heavy clouds. So these clouds sometimes melt or burst, so which is accompanied by a blowing wind, which is known as the tornadoes. So the second type of precipitation is the orographic precipitation. Now, the third type of precipitation is known as frontal precipitation. So in this type of precipitation, there are two types of frontal precipitation. One is cold frontal precipitation. The second one is warm frontal precipitation. So here, this type of precipitation is the third type of precipitation. So which is basically of two types. One is the cold frontal precipitation, and the second one is the warm frontal precipitation. Now, suppose we have two air masses. Now let us say we have an air mass, that is cold air mass, and we have one more air mass which is known as a warm air mass. So we have two air masses having different contrasting temperature and densities. First one is a cold air mass. The second one is a warm air mass, which are having different temperature and densities. What happens? These two air masses, the cold air masses and the warm air masses, they collide with each other. And the contact surface between these two air masses is called as frontal surface. Now we have two air masses. One is the cold air mass, the other one is the warm air mass. So whenever there is a conflict between these two air masses, then there is such type of precipitation is known as the frontal precipitation. So here we have two air masses. One is the cold one, the other one is the warm air mass. Now, if the cold air mass pushes away the warm air mass, if the cold air mass pushes away the warm air mass, whatever the precipitation that is going to happen is called as cold frontal precipitation. And this cold frontal precipitation is very intense, and which occurs over a small area. The intensity of the rainfall will be very high, but it covers a very small area. So on the other hand, we have a warm frontal precipitation. So in this case, warm air mass tries to push away the cold air mass. The warm air mass try to push away the cold air mass, and whatever the precipitation that results due to this phenomena is called as warm frontal precipitation. So warm frontal precipitation. So the intensity of the precipitation will be average or moderate, but it covers a very large area. So here, basically, there will be a friction between the two air masses. That is, one is the cold air mass and the other one is the warm air mass. So there will be a sliding action or a sliding action between these two air masses, and the contact surface between these two air masses is known as the frontal surface, and the resulting precipitation, whether it may be a cold frontal precipitation or it may be a warm frontal precipitation, if the cold air mass drives out or pushes away the warm air mass. So such a type of precipitation is known as cold frontal precipitation, and the intensity of the precipitation will be very high, but it covers a very small area. On the other hand, the warm frontal precipitation, here the warm air tries to drive away or moves away or pushes away the cold air mass, and whatever the resulting precipitation is called as warm frontal precipitation, and the intensity of the precipitation is not that high, but it covers a very large area. So this is the third type of precipitation. Now you can see the figure here, frontal precipitation. So here we have two air masses of different temperature and contrasting temperature and density. Now you can see here, this is the warm air mass and this is the cold air mass, and whatever the contact surface between these two air masses is known as, this surface is known as frontal surface. Now you can see here the warm air is pushing out the cooler air, so which results in the precipitation, which is known as warm frontal precipitation. So two air masses of different temperature come into contact, that is cold and warm mass. Now here, in this case, the cold air mass tries to drive away the warm air mass, and whatever the precipitation that takes place at the contact surface is known as cold frontal precipitation. The intensity of the rainfall will be very high and it covers a very small area. So on the other hand, here the warm air mass drives out the cool air mass, and the resulting precipitation is known as warm frontal precipitation, and the intensity is average or moderate, but it covers a very large area. So this is the third type of precipitation. And the fourth type of precipitation is the cyclonic precipitation. So this cyclonic precipitation, every time we have, there is a low pressure area in the ocean, whenever there is a low pressure area in the ocean, which results in the cyclonic precipitation. So we have seen so many cyclones in the Bay of Bengal, especially in the Bay of Bengal, we have this cyclonic precipitation. Here, a low pressure area will be created in the ocean. A cyclone is a low pressure area surrounded by a large high pressure area. Now here you have a low pressure area. It is surrounded by a high pressure area. When a low pressure area occurs in an area, especially over large water bodies, it causes the air at the low pressure zone to lift. Here, there will be a lifting of the air mass because of the low pressure area. There will be a lifting of the air mass, so which results in the cyclonic precipitation. Here, it is the intensity of precipitation will be very high, and sometimes these cyclones causes havoc, correct? And it can be called by many names. So sometimes they call it as Katrina or any other name they give. Every time we experience this cyclonic precipitation in the Bay of Bengal. So the names of these cyclones vary in different places. Tropical cyclones in India, we get tropical cyclones. In Southeast Asia, which is called as typhoon. In America and all, it is called as hurricane. So the cyclonic precipitation causes intense precipitation and it covers a very large area, and tsunami is also one of that cyclonic precipitation. It causes intense precipitation and it causes damages to the lives of people, livestock, and areas are submerged due to cyclonic precipitation. So now the types of precipitation is different from the different forms of precipitation. The different forms of precipitations are drizzle, rain, glaze, sleet, snow, snowflakes, hail, dew, frost, fog, and mist. But the types of precipitations are the convective precipitation, or it's also known as thermal convection. The second type of precipitation is called as orographic precipitation, and the third type of precipitation is known as the frontal precipitation, and the fourth one is the cyclonic precipitation. Now here in cyclonic precipitation, if the diameter of the cyclone is about 1,500 kilometers, so it is called as a moderate cyclone. And if the diameter of the cyclone is more than 3,000 kilometers, then it is called as a heavy cyclone, which causes loss of life, loss of property, and there will be intense preparation on an area which is subjected to a cyclone precipitation. So basically, cyclonic precipitation is the result of a low pressure area developed in the ocean, which results in the lifting of the air mass in the low pressure area, which results in heavy precipitation, correct? Heavy precipitation, and these are the different types of cyclone, whether it may be a tropical cyclone, or it may be typhoon, or it may be hurricane. So now we have discussed what is the definition of hydrology, correct? Definition of hydrology and the hydrologic cycle and the major water potential in our country and the global water potential, and also the hydrologic cycle and the different forms of hydrology, that is rainfall or precipitation, and the different types of precipitation. Now uh, let us discuss what is the scope of hydrology, why this subject of hydrology is useful for civil engineers. So among all the three phases of hydrologic cycle, that is evaporation and evapotranspiration, and the second one is precipitation, and the third one is overland flow or runoff. So we civil engineers are much concerned of the third phase of hydrologic cycle, that is the overland flow or runoff. So that means how much quantity of water that is available in streams after meeting all the losses, after meeting all the initial losses, how much quantity of water that is available in the natural stream that comes out of the catchment area, so that based on the amount of water that is available to in the stream, so we can design and construct and maintain the hydraulic structures like small dams, pickup weirs, or reservoirs. So the scope of hydrology. So we civil engineers are much interested in the third phase of hydrologic cycle, that is the runoff or overland flow. The study of hydrology helps us to know the maximum probable flood that may occur at a given point or given place and its frequency, how often the flood occurs, and which will be very helpful for the safe design of dams, bridges, drainages, and culverts, etc. So the scope, the importance of hydrology, that is the concept of hydrology, will be very useful for the design of these hydraulic structures like dams, bridges, drainage, that is culverts and drainages, etc. That means we can know the amount of water or the probable flood that may occur and its frequency, how often it occurs. So that can be known from the subject of hydrology or the concept of hydrology. Next, the water yield from a basin for the design of domestic and industrial water supply, power generation, and inland navigation. So the yield from the basin is nothing but the output from the basin. So the basin is nothing but an area which receives the rainfall. It is also called as a watershed which receives the precipitation. So not entire amount of water that is received by the basin will come out of the basin. So some part of the precipitation may be held up in small depressions in the watershed area, or some portion of the rainfall may get infiltrated into the ground and it may build up the groundwater, and the remaining part of the rainwater which fills all the low depressions on the earth surface, the remaining water which comes out of the catchment and finally joins the natural stream is nothing but the yield from a catchment. Yield from a catchment is nothing but the quantity of water that comes out of the catchment after meeting all the initial losses, the amount of water that comes out of the catchment. So this amount of water will be very helpful in the design of domestic and industrial water supply and also for power generation. So the scope of hydrology is the study of hydrology helps us to know the maximum probable flood that may occur at a given site and its frequency, so which will be very helpful in the design of the dams, bridges, drains and culverts. So the second scope is the yield from a catchment, so which will be helpful in the design and operation of the domestic and industrial water supply. And the third one is the groundwater development and its usage for minor irrigation scheme. So the scope of hydrology also helps us to know the amount of water, groundwater that is available in a particular area, so that the same water can be utilized for minor irrigation scheme, and also disposing of the excess water during flood without causing damage to human lives and animals. So this is the scope of hydrology. So it also helps us to know the excess amount of water that may occur at a particular place, so that this excess water can be safely released through the spillways of the dams or reservoirs, so without causing much damage to human lives and animals on the downstream side. So this is the scope of hydrology. So I think the time is running out. So I request all of you to mark your attendance in the chat box. So am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So please mark your attendance in the chat box. So the time is running out. So voice clear idea ಅಥವಾ breakup idea? Any issues with the voice? Hello? ಇದು ಯಾರು ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾರಿದು? ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾರೋ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಯಾರಿದು ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ GA ಅಂತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು? ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ನಿಮ್ದು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಈ ತರ ಇದ್ರೆ. ಯಾರಿದು ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿರಲ್ಲ? USA ನಂಬರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರಿದು? ಹಲೋ? See, attendance, so please write your name. Against your name, please write your USN number. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಗಿಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅದು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ, ಆಬ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಯಾರ ಮನೆ ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಂಗೆ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಯಾರೋ ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್? Rakesh? Rakesh, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Rakesh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Hello.
So I request
sir.
but don't Redmi ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅದು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ. Will be marked as.
Sir, I not put Redmi and all.
ಹಾ?
ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಆ ಥರ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ರೆಡ್ಮಿ ಅಂತ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರೋ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನನ್ನ ಚಾಟ್ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಹಂಗೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ನೀನಂತಲ್ಲ, ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಹಾಕಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್. ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪುಟಿಂಗ್. ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, so we shall meet tomorrow morning. Okay, till then have a nice time, nice day, stay safe, goodbye. Now you can leave the classroom.